Welcome to The Source with your host, Dr. C.T. Curry, and co-host Kobe Owens. News all across the nation. The Source. Stay in the loop in the city of Wilmington, Delaware. Work together for change in the community. A call to action to find the resources. The Source, the latest in news.
Good evening. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
And welcome to The Source. Once again, it is such a privilege and a joy coming to you every week. Kobe, before we get started with all the news, I received an interesting telephone call that said to me they was very excited about the show last week. And people found out that I was away on a cruise. And one person said to me, Pastor Curry, you did a phenomenal job by getting us a lot of rest. So I'm trying to figure out what are they talking about. I got a lot of rest, but I did get a lot of rest. And he said, because you went from being dark-skinned on TV to being white. I said, huh? And then it hit me how Sean stood in for us on last week. I'm just grateful that people still have a sense of humor with all the stuff that's going on in the world that we are dealing with. And I want to give a straight shout out to Brother Sean Coulter who really stepped in. And how did he do?
He did good. We had a good time talking politics and everything. So again, it's always a good show whenever I get to talk politics, and he fit right in, was smooth with it. You know, sometimes there's a little transition period when you come from behind the camera to in front of the camera, but he did a good job.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I knew that he could talk to politics with you. I didn't know whether he would be able to deal with some other stuff that we deal with. And I said to him, I said, listen, I mean, he's a Penn State grad, and he's really on the move doing some great stuff. I mean, I'm really proud of him, and I hope and trust that we can keep him around for a while. But I knew that he loved politics, and he's a strong liberal like y'all. And so therefore, I knew that would be a nice liberal show to be able to just, and I say y'all, I mean you and your fight. Matter of fact, he even connected me with the ACLU. Yes. And I had an interview with them, and matter of fact, we talked about you as well on that show. So I'm really glad that he is really active in the community, being at a lot of the protests, and now he came to work for us at East Iron Fair, and he's still seeing the work being done and hearing us going back and forth. So hats off, and thank you for holding it down for the show on last week.
Of course.
And now I come back, and we got two homicides, and one person is still surviving. Thank God for that. And I just, the first one I want to talk about is what happened on 23rd in Washington last Friday after we did our airing of the last show. A gentleman was shot and then killed. What happened?
Yeah. So again, in the evening of May 23rd, there was a shooting in which two people were shot. One person was a 25-year-old man who was injured in the shooting but was taken to the hospital in stable condition. Unfortunately, there was a 24-year-old man who was also shot during this time on 23rd in Washington, and he ended up passing away. And one thing I want to say about this incident is I get it that people want to know what's going on, but there was a social media video going on. And this young man's family unfortunately found out that he had been shot and later died via this Facebook Live video, which showed him laying on the ground bleeding out. When someone is in a vulnerable state like that, you should not film it. Right. I get it that the community's upset. Y'all want to know what's going on. Y'all can film everything going around. But to walk up to the body as the body's bleeding out, as the young man's bleeding out, that is not the time to do that. Right. And that is a very graphic thing that young kids in the community have now seen and shared around. But also that is very traumatizing for the family as well, too.
It's very irresponsible.
As of right now, I believe that they are still looking for a person of interest in this case. They are not, they don't know what led to this shooting just yet. But Detective Kane has asked anyone with information to reach out to him. His number is 303-576-3961.
Yeah. Well, since you're on that, let me help you with also putting a plea out there that we do want to know what's going on in the community. We want to make sure that we are holding people accountable when things are not going the way it should go. But it's a responsibility that we have as well. I remember, I'm never going to forget when my brother was killed in Philadelphia. I didn't see him dying, but I saw my mother on the TV because I was away at Lincoln at the time.
Hmm.
But I saw my mother on on the TV falling out because she had ran to the scene and things, that stays in my head even now. To see what you sharing that was shared on Facebook speaks to a lack of being responsible.
Hmm.
This is not cute. This is not something to make yourself famous. This is a real life, and this is a real family we're dealing with. And for those of you who watch us every week, we do want you to have hope. We want to hold people accountable, but for something like that, that's sensitive, and you really should not be just sharing things just because you recorded it, or it can give you some extra hits on your Facebook page. That was irresponsible. And if you really wanted to film something, maybe you should have filmed the person who was doing the shooting, and then we could hold somebody accountable for this precious life that has been lost. And that's something that we really need to start doing too. We can't just keep letting people not be held accountable for their reckless acts. Because
Hmm.
again, you have to have been in that situation to know I mean, when you said it to me, I didn't even look at the thing, but it just messed me up because one, I can't take blood, but two, because I just think it's irresponsible. So
Hmm.
I stand with you, and we hold people accountable. And for those of you who are thinking that it's all right just to share everything, some things you need to be very careful with because you got other lives, humans who are affected by what you're going through. There was another shooting, and one person died as well. In this second one, and that was something that happened in 800 block West 7th Street or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on Thursday night of this past week, there was a shooting in the 800 block of West
Mhm.
7th Street, where police, when they got to the scene, they found a 56-year-old man with a gunshot wound. They transported him to the hospital, and unfortunately, he passed away from his injuries. They also located a 19-year-old with gunshot wounds, who they were able to transport to the hospital in stable condition. So
Mhm.
again, two more individuals harmed by gun violence here in the city of Wilmington. Unfortunately, one passed away, and I'm glad that the 19-year-old is still here with us.
Absolutely. And I want to say to the police department that we know our attitude is not that they're not doing their job. We have seen their presence. We're not saying they're perfect in what they do because none of us are.
Right.
But I want to say, they are really working hard. And this is, because last year and years in the past, we really came down on the police department of
Hmm.
their reckless acts. And it was justifiable for what we were doing. But I'm grateful for how the city council is starting to work with, and they're starting to see some results. Not you have not said, and not have any other city council people said to me that they are perfect in what they're doing, but we're getting more transparency. And I
Hmm.
don't want them to be wearied in their well doing and start hiding things because it may be starting to heighten a little bit. We do need to hold our community accountable too. Somebody's pulling these triggers. Somebody knows who's pulling these triggers,
Right.
and we have to start holding each other accountable, whether it be our grandchildren, whether it be our cousins, our friends, and them. These are precious lives, and we got to take serious. And now that we have a police department that is trying to be transparent, now that we have a mayor who care about bodies and not just buildings, now that we have a city council who are working effectively together, why not we all join the party and let's start sharing more information and dealing with those individuals who come in our community and create such chaos and confusion in
Hmm.
our communities. And that's where I am. And I hope that somebody will join me, whether you know of people who are doing these perpetrating these crimes and who are just being a menace to our society, and we start holding them accountable because it's not cute. Somebody's losing their child, their grandchild. Somebody's losing their brother, their sister in some cases, and we have to start holding people accountable.
I agree with you, and it's going to take everyone coming together.
Yeah.
I've said this before. I'm going to keep saying it. It takes our faith leaders, it takes our
Yes.
politicians, it takes our police, it takes our community leaders, it takes some of the youth as well too to
Yeah.
let us know what is going on.
Absolutely.
So again, I 1000% agree with you.
Yeah, and you made a mistake by saying it takes all these other people too, because when you said that, it just hit me. We get mad when something happens to a person in our community, like if the police, for example, if they come
Hmm.
and beat up a black child, then everybody is in front of the cameras talking about how egregious the police department is. But the black on black crime is what I'm starting to start focusing on too, because I'm not saying that we're not going to let any police officer do our our children wrong. But by the same token, when are we going to start speaking up as
Right.
faith leaders? When are we going to start speaking up as community leaders? When are we going to start speaking up saying, you know what, we got to stop killing ourselves too? And this is why there was a big argument. I remember one time, and I'm not going to say any names, but I got in an argument with somebody who I respect very highly because they started talking about black on black crime when we were dealing with a mayor who could care less about black people. So they brought up, well, let's deal with the black on black crime. I'm not dealing with black on black crime right now until we start dealing with getting our mayor to understand that he had a responsibility. But now I'm starting to say, now that we see that the mayor is saying, okay, go ahead and share information, go ahead and let's get more money put into this area or to that area and solving some of these crimes. Now that we have that much movement, I'm saying now we also now need to start attacking the black on black crime too, because unless it's not black on black crime, whoever's doing the crime, we just want to deal with that.
Yeah, I agree with you. So again, we have a long way to go, but we have to look at it at every different lens possible.
Absolutely. Well, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're in a season now, if we can turn to some good news, and again, we do need some good news of graduations. And man, it has been a season. Whenever any of my young people here at Zion Fair invite me to their graduations, I try my best to make it. Sometimes it becomes much. I did 2 yesterday, but I was at, which it seemed like the University of Delaware. Well, this week they must make $1 million because
I know
because they have graduated and they got it all down to a science. You got 2 hours, you got 2 hours, and they just
they
keep
don't
it
play.
rolling. And
they don't play. You're out of there.
But yesterday I had an opportunity to go to Howard's, and I wanted to bring them up because that's right here in our community, right here in Wilmington. The only high school we have in Wilmington. Am I right about? Yeah. Well, it's public / VOTEC. But anyway, I went to there and it was very well done. If you look at the paper today or on Friday, you see a picture of a group of people screaming and hollering. Okay, that was us. We were there and we were representing one of our members. And listen, it had to be about 100. I don't know how they got all those tickets, so I ain't gonna get into that because everything was about tickets. But it was at least 100 of us there, and we were screaming and hollering. I guess we must have caught the news journal's attention because when she walked across that stage, Desani Teagle, when she walked across that stage, we lit it up. And even the principal, she said the principal was saying, "Oh, you got a lot of people here," because it was just something. And that's the way we do it in African American community.
That's how it should be. And I don't even know because I also attended a graduation at the Bob Carpenter Center for St. George's, and the principal said, hold your applause until the end. I don't even know why they still say that.
This principal didn't say that. He just said, "Don't come in the aisles." He said, "Don't come in the aisles." But good, I'm sorry.
They did say that. Don't come on the floor and take pictures or anything. I guess that must have happened last year. But it was it's just a moment to celebrate all the hard work, sweat, tears sometimes that went into getting to this point in a child's life, and it really does take a village. And for us in our community, we love celebrating that. So again, congratulations to all the grads. UD is still doing graduations right now.
Cycling them through.
I think Brandywine School District is the next one up, and then Christina School District is. Listen, they make a lot of money these next 2 weeks. But in the VOTECs, I want to talk about the VOTECs real quick. A lot of these students, yes, they're going on to a college or going into their fields, but the ones they're all graduated with certifications, which means if they choose to today, they could be making good money and a good paying job, and that's what we need more of as well too. I hats off to all the ones who are continuing their education, going to the next level, but just listening to some of the professions that were highlighted. People being able to do a 3G weld and everything coming out of high school, that's huge. Other states don't have that. So again, we want to make sure that we continue to highlight our VOTEC schools and all the different shops that they have in there. I got to see a few of my mentees when I remember when they were real little. I'm like, ooh, I'm getting old.
Yeah, you are.
Then they said when St. George's was built and that the school's only 16 years old, the young kid I was sitting next to, he turned to me and he said, well, you're 30, you're older than the school. I said, oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, it was fun sitting there and being able to cheer them on and seeing all the happy families, and people brought the different flags out from the countries they represent, the big cutouts of their kids' heads, the bullhorns and stuff. So it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, and I want to add to that, staying on the VOTEC side of the house, and I'm going to say something about the academic high schools too. But on the VOTEC side, I was very impressed to hear the principal talk about how much internship money that their children made, and how much they have contributed back to the community. It's a major thing, Kobe, to see that our children have been able to go into fields and they got a trade now. You use the word and they're certified in their trade, whether it be welding, whether it be cosmetology, whatever it is, and nursing and things like that. I'm very grateful for VOTEC. And in a time that we're living in right now, we need VOTEC as well. Yes. I am big on colleges. I'm big on moving on. Matter of fact, the young lady who graduated from Howard, remember here, and I'm big on telling them, I want you to go on and further your education. She graduated certified, but she is also going on to Howard University. Okay. Starting in the fall. She's been accepted to Howard and she's going. But that's something that I want to also say about even the regular academic high schools. I want to say hats off to every parent. Every mother, every father, every auntie, every cousin, every mentor, every mentor who really work with these young people. It used to be a given that we graduate from high school. Now we have to celebrate it because so many of our young people are being left and lost in the cracks. So I am very, very grateful for all the parents, all of the people who are instrumental in seeing their children through to the end, to be able to I sat in my chair as I was at that graduation saying, Lord, thank you for all of these parents who surround these young people, given all the things that's happening around these young people, and they made it. They made it. And I just think that's awesome.
So again, congratulations. I know there's going to be some good barbecues over these next few weekends. So if you want to invite us, we're here. But no, congratulations to everyone.
Yes, and we thank you. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we come back, we're going to get that Kobe Corner, and we're going to get it, because I got a lot of questions I want to ask you. And if you don't cover some of this stuff that I have in my head, I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions in the Kobe Corner. So why don't you grab a quick drink and come right back.
Smiles are powerful. A simple smile can light up a whole room. And for 25 years, Smile Train has been lighting up the world with smiles. And each smile marks a step towards a brighter future. As the world's largest cleft lip and palate charity, Smile Train has supported more than 2 million life-changing cleft surgeries in over 90 countries, leaving a legacy of resilience, joy, and beaming smiles for generations of children. To learn more about cleft lips and palates and how Smile Train is supporting the cleft community all over the world, please visit smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train. Lighting up the world with smiles for 25 years.
As a mom, I want my kids' lives to be filled with joy and possibility. And I want that for every kid. That's why I support No Kid Hungry. They work in schools and communities to make sure every kid gets the healthy meals they need. Please join me in supporting No Kid Hungry for all kids.
Join us live for our weekly worship. Every Sunday at 9 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube.
Well, Pastor, I'm doing the best I can, but I still gotta have a little Chardonnay, and I still gotta have a little this, and I gotta still sneak around. The devil is a liar. That's an excuse.
Wilmington's most exciting church.
Christopher Holton. I'm very active. It was a Saturday morning. Normally I go for my normal walk.
With no warning, Chris suffered a near-fatal heart attack. But thankfully, Brian Buckley, a bystander, saw him collapse and rushed to help.
He did this big gasp for air and then just stopped. It's like I went into autopilot. It's like all that training I did back in the day around CPR just magically came out of nowhere.
Because of the CPR training that Brian received, Chris did make it and didn't die on the trail that day. CPR training provided by the American Heart Association.
Looking at your hands, these two hands could save a life.
Being a father, you want to be around. You want to be around for your kids.
Heart disease is America's #1 killer. To learn more about how the American Heart Association helps save lives, go to helpheart.org.
And we're back. Kobe, what's going on with the Kobe Corner today?
Yeah, first off, I want to say I am happy to be on this show. We celebrated the 200th episode, and someone reached out to me the other day and was like, so how many more episodes do you think you have in you? And I said, I think I have another 200 at least. But jumping right into this, let's talk about the federal level. We have heard about the House passing the last portion of their reconciliation, which makes major cuts to Medicaid and Medicare. What we haven't heard much of is what is the Senate going to do? We're seeing a bunch of pushback from individual senators, Senator Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, even Senator John Curtis from Utah, who replaced Mitt Romney, who was a very big critic of the Trump administration and tried to work in a bipartisan way. So now we're trying to figure out what is going to go on. Now you have some Republican senators who are pushing for a either deeper cut. Then on the other side, you have some senators who are saying, no, this is going to impact my ruby red state way too much, who relies heavily on Medicaid, SNAP benefits, WIC, so on. You have some people who are upset who are saying that even though they made so many cuts through DOGE, this is still raising the debt by trillions of dollars, from 5 to 10 trillion almost. One thing I do want to highlight is that there was an announcement made as this is ongoing and senators are debating that Elon Musk is leaving his role. And again, this is because he believes that the Senate will not correct the course of the House that Trump is supporting. Him and Trump are on the outs. He wants to see more cuts. Why? Because that creates more opportunity for tax breaks for him. Puts more money back in his pocket. So again, we're going to follow this. We'll probably have a vote within the next 2 weeks on this. But again, this is a Musk leaving. It shows the dysfunction going on behind this major spending bill. And if
you could tell by one of the comments he made about the big beautiful bill. He said it could be either or, big or beautiful or whatever.
But it can't be both.
Which means he's probably there's been some fruiting going on, and they didn't bring it to the public, and they act like everything is good.
And also, I just gotta say, naming a federal piece of legislation, an actual piece of legislation that's going to impact so many lives, but really the actual name of this bill is One Big Beautiful Bill. It shows how unserious the Trump administration is. The Republican, both House and Senate, are unserious about the impacts this is going to have on people's lives. Some of the key provisions in this bill as of right now changes SNAP requirements for single parents, right? So if you're a single parent and you have a child 8 or older, then you must be working under this current provision. But if you're married, you don't have to work and the child is still good until 18. They are trying to push the family structure on people. And look, at some point in time, it just doesn't work. But you shouldn't just get married to get married so that you can get extra benefits. That's what's going to happen under this, right? When you create
I'm gonna close my
incentives like
calendar
that,
down. I ain't
right?
marrying nobody. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
When you create
Yeah.
incentives like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This provides some individual tax deductions for higher brackets, right? But it's limit on itemized deductions, right? It does change one thing I do agree. The tipped income. It removes the taxes from that. That is huge. That is something that has been fought for years. It was actually put into the spending bill under the Democrats and the Republicans. When Trump said, no, that's not good, they all pulled support. But now that Trump thinks it's good, it's the
good.
best thing on earth.
Yeah.
Best thing since sliced bread.
I didn't know Americans can be so scared of one person. We were very afraid of a dictatorship or a kingship. And it seems like they're so afraid of this one man. It's really weird.
You know, the West Point graduation the other day.
Yeah.
I know we talked about graduations. The West Point graduation was very interesting. Because I've watched it a few times. And I don't think I've ever seen graduates actively not shake the hand of the president. And they asked one person, why did you do that? And he says, I signed up to defend this country against all threats, foreign and domestic.
Oh, wow.
And by shaking his hand, I am legitimizing a domestic threat.
Wow.
Which hats off to him.
Hats off, both hats.
I don't think he's gonna have a job.
Yeah.
But hats off to him. I hope he does get hired somewhere
Caucasian
else.
or African American?
He was white.
So he'll get a job. No disrespect, but he'll get a job. Okay, but that shows the courage and conviction. There are people who still have conviction, and I think that's so important. As a matter of fact, we were talking about Sean earlier. That's one of the things I like about him is that he has a conviction of what he believes, and he stands firm on it. Matter of fact, so I think that's good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and talking about budgets, right? I want to transition over to the state budget, right, and talk about funding there. So earlier this year, Governor Matt Myers introduced his first state budget for 2026 fiscal year. In there, it's a $6.6 billion operating budget, which is about $29 million more than what Governor Carney had proposed on his way out. Again, you usually see that during a transition. So they restructured some things, a budget reset, and several of Governor Carney's recommendations are staying in. Again, public educator and state employee salary increases, $85.5 million for Medicaid growth, $61.3 million in state retiree costs as well too. So again, that's some things. DFAC, which is our Delaware Financial Advisory Committee, it's the financial leaders from across the state. They come together. They're charged with looking at the state's revenues, looking at our expenditures, and predicting the state will be in a deficit or have more money based off those numbers, right? Each larger body of government has this, right? We have DFAC for the state letter. We have WEFAC for Wilmington, right? They have met and determined based off the new updated state revenue and state expenditures that we are bringing in a little more money than we are spending. And we will have an additional $89 million to work with this fiscal year, which again, helps with some of the constraints that was put out there, especially with some of the federal cuts and everything. So again, these were from the updated May numbers, which will allow the state to spend next fiscal year up to $7.083 billion. Again, so that is a huge, huge step up where we could fund some things. The General Assembly really hasn't passed too many bills that have a fiscal note on it as of right now. So again, this will allow some more wiggle room. Now, session does end on June 30th, but with this new update and everything, JFC, which is the Joint Finance Committee, which has multiple city representatives and senators who are on it, the longest serving being State Rep Stephanie T. Bolden.
Yes.
Senator Darius Brown is also on it, and then also Representative Namni Kocha from the city of Wilmington, and Representative Kendra Griffiths are all on this committee. So we have 4 representatives of the city of Wilmington who are on this committee. It's usually only 1 per region. So this is very unique time. So hopefully we'll see additional funding coming our way. But again, this is hopefully going to help with more money going to nonprofits who've lost federal funding, filling in the gap where we've lost some federal funding when it comes to Medicaid cuts, SNAP benefits, but then also one policy that has been very, very highly debated has been the universal school meals, and making sure that we get a bill around that done. And again, that has a price tag of $34 million. But I think feeding every child in the state of Delaware breakfast and lunch every day that they have school is worth that money,
Absolutely.
right? That's what I want my taxpayer dollars to go to.
Yeah.
So again, we'll see what goes on with that as they meet next week. They'll meet. I'm going to be listening in to some of the hearings on that, and then I'll be able to update us afterwards.
Good. Good.
Next, I want to talk about the city of Wilmington. Last Thursday, we passed our budget. It passed with a vote of 11 to 1 and 1 absent, right? So
11 to 1.
11 yes,
Uh-huh.
1 no,
Okay.
1 absent.
Okay.
Um,
Now, before we get into that, now I know you have your own report.
mhm.
So you got 12, you got
13
13
council
individuals.
members. Yes,
And one of them there was no not present.
correct.
The other one, so we don't know which way that vote was going to go, and the other one was a no.
Yes.
So in actuality, now before we get into who did the no or the whatever, I just want to ask a question.
Mhm.
The person who voted no, since it passed, will that person get any of that money?
Yes.
So why don't y'all pass a legislation that says if you vote no, you get nothing?
So there's multiple reasons someone may vote no.
Okay.
But in the budget, again, it goes, it's not for individual council members. Like, yes, we can recommend different projects in our district and stuff like that. But this is funding our fire department, funding public works, making sure the city can operate and stuff like that. That's what the vast majority of the budget is. We have the capital budget, which also passed as well too, which is the projects, the building and stuff like that, parks in your district. Everyone has an opportunity to submit different projects, ideas, try to get funding for different things. Some things get funded, some things don't, depending on the price tag,
Absolutely.
viability, if the mayor's office wants to do it, or if you could get 7 council members to come together and do it, right? So again, it's very interesting to see this process. But again, I didn't agree with everything in the budget.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, what I did agree with outweighed what I didn't agree with.
Absolutely.
We have a critical duty of delivering high quality care to our residents when it comes to EMS services. And I knew going into this budget, adding an additional $3.8 million when we're losing federal dollars was going to be a big push. So I supported the budget because of that, right? There's other things in there I supported too, but that was the big one, right? Now, one of the things I did not support was us changing the mill rate for real estate based upon the tax assessments. Because by us doing that, we're accepting the results that Tyler Technology gave us. Tyler Technology themselves admitted that in the city of Wilmington, it was flawed. And that, they overassessed a lot of low-income minority communities and underassessed the commercial properties, right? What does that mean? It means even though we didn't change your tax rate, you're still going to pay more in taxes. And in the mayor's own statement, he said on average, if your taxes are going up, you're only paying an additional $230 a year. Well, that $230 can go to something else.
Absolutely.
Because it's not fair. I can't sell my house at this point. This is just pie in the sky numbers that they made up. Then on top of that, so I voted no to that. If it passed, because certain council members try to make it that if we didn't passed that mill rate change, then the budget wouldn't, we wouldn't be able to vote on a budget later on, which was not true. We still had a week left to vote on a budget. All it would have to do is change the numbers to make it more equitable and take off the burden from residential homeowners and put it back on, more on the commercial and make it even again. It used to be almost a 50 or 47 and 47 split in the burden. Now it's almost a 70% burden on residential and 29% on commercial property. So I did not think that was right. Later on in the council meeting, we did pass a resolution.
Right, and before you go past that, because I know you're going through, and I got people listening to us now. Even though you disagree with that, and you voted your conscience on that,
Yeah.
and you said no to that,
hmm
and I hear you, where there are things that you just did not agree with.
Yes.
And I think that's just part of being a council person. You're supposed to be able to voice what you said, what you believe in and what you don't believe in, and what you support and what you don't support. But where I want to make sure is that you still say, but you did not say you didn't vote against the whole budget. Are you the one
Correct.
person who did not vote against the whole budget?
No, I'm not.
So you just, what you're doing now, because just in case somebody's confused,
Yes.
what you're doing now is you're sharing certain things you did not agree with, and you may have voted no too.
Correct.
But when the vote for the total budget came up,
Yes.
you said yes, not because you have succumbed to believing that the assessment was right. It's just that for the good of the total budget, you went on to move forward. That's called being, I think that's very mature. I think that's very understanding. I'm not being disrespectful to the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 who did not vote for the budget, but you don't always get your way.
So I'll say this, because you mentioned being mature. When I brought this up on the floor, Councilman James Spadola, who's the sole Republican, who voted to raise your taxes, not only did he cuss multiple times during his 5-minute rant, I don't know what was wrong with him that night. He wasn't there in person, he was virtual. But he said that the community coming out and bringing up concerns about the property tax assessment that was said to be flawed by the company who performed it, was just B-wording. And y'all know what that means.
Yeah.
B-I.
Okay.
So again, and I corrected him on that. And he tried to reprimand me saying, oh, well, I'm glad the adults, the senior council members are coming in. We're going to vote for this. Well, let me tell you one thing. There's no such thing as a senior council member. And for all the council members who keep saying that, that is a new term that y'all made up this year. It means nothing. We get paid the same amount. We're in the same position. And whether you're a senior council member or now, I'm a council member as well too. A returning, yeah.
Returning council member.
Well, no, they don't like saying returning. They like saying senior council
You're
members.
not senior. You ain't senior.
So again, they keep using this term that the community is laughing at you every time you say it. I have tons and tons of messages because they're saying things have been so messed up the last few cycles. Why would you even want to keep reminding people that you were a part of that? But that's on y'all. We lost that vote. The side I stood on, we lost that vote 8-5. So the 5 people who did not vote to raise your taxes, your property taxes, was myself. It was Councilwoman Darby, Councilwoman Christian Wilhowler, Councilman Alex Hackett, and Council President Trippy Congo. So we lost that vote 8-5. And the reason why we did this vote of 8-5 is because we don't want to accept unfair, unequitable tax assessments, right? So again, a lot of these properties were oversessed that are residential, right? So Tyler Technology claimed that this one guy claimed that his property is worth $375,000, right? And he saying that cannot be true. I purchased the property for $45,000. And I've only put a little work into it. I'm still working on it, but it's no way that it's worth $375,000, right? Councilwoman Christian Wilhowler has been leading the effort in bringing to light the different properties and the inequities in it. The new Fall apartments over on Fall Drive over in the 8th District, the entire building was assessed less than a row home on East or West Fifth Street, right? So again, there was just a lot of inconsistencies with it. So that was one piece that we voted on. We voted on the budget, which again that was 11 to 1 to 1. We voted on the capital projects budget, which was 12 to 1. And then,
but let me ask you a question about this while you're there. What about those individuals who, like there was one individual who did not vote, who voted no?
Yes.
Okay. Did that person want something in the budget? You don't have to get into the details at this point, but you know who they are. But did that person want anything in the budget that did not get in?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
And again, they may have asked for things one-on-one, and that's fine. You can do that. But as far as I'm aware, I don't believe so.
Are you aware of any that was put in? That that person wanted and it was in there?
Yes, absolutely. Almost all council members got at least one thing in the budget that they wanted.
So you mean to tell me, so when he or she voted not to support the budget, then that means they want you to take out the budget, the one thing they got?
Mm-hmm.
Do they want you to do that, or do they not want you to do that?
No, they don't want you to do that. They want that to stay in, but they wanted everything else that they wanted.
Oh, that's just very immature.
But then the last piece was a resolution we did, which passed almost unanimously, that called on us to pull out of the current tax assessments and use the old ones until we can get a third-party operator to come in and do a new assessment for us here in the city of Wilmington with a fits thing. As of today, the mayor has put out a statement stating that it's only a resolution and that council would have to pass an ordinance to revoke the Newcastle County power to assess values, and then only for the next year. So that came from his new comms director, Matt Ford, and saying that because it's only a resolution, that they would not be able to do what the council was asking. So I hope that my council colleagues and I come together and work on an ordinance to do this, because it's going to cost the residential side of homeowners or property owners a lot of money, and that's not fair to them.
And being business friendly is important, but it's not that important that it sacrifice those who live here every day, who have invested sincerely their life, their families in this community.
Yeah.
And I think people need to see it from that perspective. Yes, we do want just shop rights and we want the big office buildings here, but if we can go back to the 47, that means everybody's living good. It's almost like the Republican system where they're like, okay, well, we're going to tax the poor 40% and we're going to tax the rich 7% because they pay more money anyway. That's not how it goes.
Right.
And it should not be how it is. Yeah.
So again, we're going to keep following that. But that's where council is. And next steps are, now that the budget's passed, we can work on other ordinances and resolutions. I have a few up. One is a cigarette tax, very similar to what the state has already, to bring in some additional revenue for the city of Wilmington. I also is looking at pre-rental inspections.
Okay.
And potentially using that additional revenue that may be projected to come in from the cigarette tax to pay for pre-rental inspections here in the city of Wilmington. So
and it all connects very nicely, because you tired of people having cancer, and you tired of these slumlords who are allowing people to rent their apartments. And it's not right. So good, very good. That's good thinking. I'm very proud of you.
So we'll see what happens with it. Yeah. It may, we got to send one down to Dover and get it passed down there. We'll see if they allow it or not, but we are trying to get some stuff done. So that's where we're at with things right now on the city council level.
Well, I'm kind of glad that city council seems like they're still working together, but it seems like there's some breaches starting to come in.
Oh, absolutely.
And when they come around this whole budget thing,
the honeymoon season's over.
It seems like it goes over, and we want to make sure. But I hope that you continue to maintain your integrity and not allow the filthiness of the politics to get in the way, because many of us have faith in you, have faith in others who are in the city council now to hold up. And I'm very concerned about some of the seasoned council people who are a part of the system, who should know better.
Yeah.
We can't tax our people. I know that sometimes we get private donations from some of these larger folks who got money, but I think we got to be very careful, and I'm going to be watching very carefully. As a matter of fact, I think what we should do now is we should put a segment in here, maybe give an extra 3 or 4 minutes when y'all do have votes. What was the new votes in city council this week? So that's another segment that maybe we should put in this show where we're going to have our coffee, our Kobe corner, but then we may want to talk about what's happening in city council. We do a politics today, but I really need to know. So when we holding people accountable, why did you vote for higher taxes? People don't hold people accountable anymore. Right. And you know, and I'm very glad that you have done such, and I'm very grateful for that you have known what you need to do thus far, and we'll see how it all turned out. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Channel 28. To my understanding, it seemed like it's something that's coming back. I saw some shows on, and we are on as well. And I also want to talk about nationally about the Senate and this Congress. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
How you doing, community? I'm Alexander Hackett, and I'm here today to talk about Community Staffing Agency. I am the owner of an educational staffing firm. And what we do is we staff all the schools in Delaware with substitute teachers, paraprofessionals, janitorial, and even substitute nurse. So if you have a school and you need our services, please contact me. But also, if you're in the community right now and you're looking for a job, please find me. And the way you can find me is by visiting communitystaffingagency.com, but also get into my direct line, 302-252-8982. Please contact me, please reach out. If you need assistance with your school or if you're looking to get into school, Community Staffing Agency is the place to be.
Hey, this is Pastor Curry, pastor of the Eastside and Fair Baptist Church, Wilmington's most exciting church, the church that love ya and anything you can do about it. What we're going to do today is we're going to have a real good conversation. I'm excited. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. Why don't you call somebody real quickly? Tell them Coffee with Curry is on. And let's get after it.
It's good to see you. It's so great to be with everyone again.
Yeah, it is.
How have you been?
I'm not good. I haven't been good. The truth is, for a while now, I feel like I've been stuck in a dark place. I can't remember feeling happy. No one really hears me, you know? I'm good. Yeah, things are good.
That's great.
Hey, boss. Okay.
I said I'm fine.
See you in the morning with the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it, and we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
And we're back. Kobe, I noticed this week that Channel 28 appears to be back on somewhat. And before you even answer that, let me just share that I've been looking at my shows on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I'm loving the way it looks on YouTube. I mean, Channel 28 needs to get up to date with, because I don't know if I can go back to 28, but let me just say that first. But Channel 28 has been a staple in our community.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our information came from Channel 28, so we do want to preserve it. Tell me a little bit about whatever you know right as of right now.
Yeah, so the shows that you're seeing on 28 is being done by in-house by WITN as of right now to keep that channel going. We will be planning a cable, video, and telecommunications meeting within the next month to be able to start discussing potentially bringing in a TPO. At the last council meeting, we did have a group that came and gave public comment, asking for the opportunity to be able to submit a RFP, a request for proposal, to become the TPO. So again, there are people interested in taking over the channel.
Is the current interested?
That I don't know.
Okay, and it was somebody else.
The former.
The former. Not so the person. I know you don't want to reveal whoever anybody is, but is that a group that was already there before?
They have been there before. It's not LAPA. The group had been there under Twin B.
Okay.
And Twin B passed away earlier this year. Well, last year, but I forget the group's name.
Okay.
But they did come. They had about 5 speakers come and talk about what they want to do with the show and everything. And again, anyone can come and give public comment at these council meetings. You never know what it's going to be pertaining to. So, but this was what they talked about there. So again, I believe that the city should have a TPO operating that channel. It gets information out to people who wouldn't get information any other place. So again, hopefully we can get that up and running again.
Good. And I want to know about, how do you submit? Because I might even do something from here. Because I see Pastor Her is doing a very good job with Radio 1, I think it is. And I think that it'd be nice for Easy and Fair to do nice with a channel. But we'll see how it all turn out. We'll look for that. The last thing I want to just say, doing it real fast. Now, every other week or every so often, I ask you questions like, do you think we'll get the Senate back? Do you think we'll get the House back up on the national level? You've been very adamant that, yes, you do believe that we'll get back the Congress. But you said, no, you didn't think we'd do anything with the Senate. Do you still feel the same way about Congress?
I do. I believe that Congress is going to flip this upcoming midterm election. I still do not think the Senate is going to flip. It's just too many seats that you have to pick up in an unfriendly map. There's a lot of deep red states that are on the map. And while they may be affected, you would need a huge mass wave of Republicans flipping their vote over. I think some areas may get close, depending, who's running, the type of background they are, but I don't see them flipping as of right now.
But you're using the word flipping. I use the word of I'm not going to show up. And I think there would be, because Donald Trump may think that he's hurting Democrats or even hurting poor people only on those who are of color. But in actuality, some of his cuts and some of his especially in Medicaid area, is hurting some people in very deep red states. So some people may say, I'm not even interested in his politics no more, because that's what happened with the last general election.
Right.
So it could happen.
It could. But the states that are up this go around are the Alabamas, the Mississippis, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas. Texas, we may have a little shining light.
But with Donald Trump making some of them, with some of these people, some of these senators making Donald Trump mad, he may put some people up to run.
That's what's happening in Texas right now.
Yeah.
He recruited the impeached, multiple indicted AG, the little Trump, to run against John Cornyn down in Texas. And all polls show that if Kim Paxton wins that primary, Democrats have a chance to flip Texas. So again, that could happen. We would need him to target like Iowa for us, North Carolina, Maine.
Well, North Carolina's not hard.
North Carolina's not hard. And they have a young Democratic Party chair down there who, while they didn't flip this for the federal level, didn't flip to blue, they won every other statewide election down there. So again, there is some hope for them down there.
So we'll see. Listen, we thank you so very much for taking time to be with us today, and we hope that we have been of some source of information for you. Kobe, we appreciate the 200 shows you've given us, and we're looking forward to the 200 more. But until that time, I guess we just keep kicking and keep kicking and keep kicking.
It.
Yeah. Thank you so very much. Have a good day.
Take care, y'all.
You've been watching The Source with host Dr. C.T. Curry and co-host Kobe Owens. Tune in every Sunday at 5 p.m. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest episodes.
a model. He was just clapping his hands. He's a blessed baby. You keep on blessing me over and over again. You keep on blessing me over and over again. You keep on blessing me over and over again. You keep on blessing me over and over again. You keep on. You keep on blessing me over and over again. You keep on blessing me. Keep on blessing me over and over again. You keep on blessing me. Keep on blessing me over and over again. You keep on blessing me. Keep on blessing me over and over again. You woke me up this morning. You started me on my way. You gave me strength to make it through another day. And you gave me eyes to see. You gave me a tongue to talk. And I wanna thank you, Jesus, for giving me the legs to walk. And you keep on blessing me. Keep on blessing me over and over again. You keep on blessing me. Keep on blessing me over and over again. You keep on blessing me. Keep on blessing me over and over again. You keep on blessing me. Keep on blessing me over and over. Check this out. I can move around. I can wave my hand. And when you speak to me, I can understand. Well, I got a home to live in, and where I can lay my head. I could have been sleeping in my grave, but you kept me alive instead. And you keep on blessing me. Keep on blessing me over and over again. You keep on blessing me. Keep on blessing me over and over again. You keep on blessing me. Keep on blessing me over and over again. You keep on blessing me. Keep on blessing me over and over again. I can move around. I can wave